Hello, today I want to help you learn the basics of character rigging in Maya. So up in this menu, change that to rigging. Go to skeleton, create joints. Now we can just click on the scene, right? But if you look, it is flying off into the distance. So we need to create this from a side view or an orthographic view. So let's pick the side. I'm just hitting spacebar to hop between these views. You can also just grab the camera with your middle mouse button and drag it into here, like drag perspective, middle mouse drag, and it changes the camera. Oops. And there I just hit 6 on the keyboard to show the textures. Alright, so I'm going to go to my side view, hit 4 so I can see through my character. We can also do shading X-ray joints. Let me show you that. So X-ray joints makes it so I can still see through the character. Why did that set it off to the side? Okay, now we're centered. See, so it's in the middle of my character, but you can still see it because I have X-ray joints turned on. So let's just say we have these joints, just place them where we want them. Your torso, usually you only need a couple joints in there. You don't need to go crazy with it because this whole top, your rib cage, is pretty solid. So your waist joints, let's see. So we might have our hips pivot from here, right? And have another one in the middle of our stomach and have another one at the same distance, but to help move our rib cage. About like that. And you just move them until they feel right. Alright, and then before doing anything else with it, we want to orient these joints. So if we go into this view, you can see that since I moved them around, this orientation is off. This arrow isn't pointing straight down the bone, and we want it to. Neither is this one. So to fix that, this one looks like it's pretty close, but I did move it. So we can go to skeleton, orient joints, and this will just make it so we'll have cleaner numbers over here in the channel box to work with later. So first, my primary axis, the one that's going to be going down the bone, or up in this case, is X, and then Y is this green one, and let's see, it's pointing backwards on Z. If you look down here in the corner, this little orientation marker is showing that Z is forward, so I need to go negative Z with Y in order to get these all to line up how I want. So I have Y is my secondary axis, and it's going to be pointing to Z negative, and I have orient children on. We'll do orient. Did you see the little arrow twitched when I did that? And now it's pointing straight down the bone. So is this one, and so is this one. And then this last bone is just pointed, still oriented to the world. I usually just go in and take all these values and just hit 0, just so it's oriented the same as my top joint that I'm using over here. Alright, so anyway, you would go and place bones like this where, like, all over your character, and maybe I'll just throw in a couple more real quick. I'll just speed through that and catch you on the controls. Real quick, it's really important that any chain that you have, any joint chain that is going to have IK systems built in, has a slight bend in it. This will give the IK handles a direction to calculate things. And what an IK chain is, let me just show you that. Let me freeze this first, or orient it. X, Y can go Y positive. Here I just zero these out. Alright, so an IK chain makes it so instead of moving joints like this and then bending them one at a time, and we would use controls to do that, but for an IK chain, we go like this. Create IK handle. I'm just setting it to rotate plane solver because I'm using 2 joints. This one usually works better for that, but you can use single chains for other situations. Grab these joints, grab my joint handle, my IK handle, and now I can move this, see, and it moves the whole arm. So that's what I mean by an IK system, right? So if we're gonna do that on something like the legs or the arms, for example, then just make sure there's a little bit of a bend. Otherwise, when you try bending it, this elbow might just fly off in some other direction. So there's your quick tip. All right, a couple more joints in here. Create this one can be the neck. I'll just put a head joint here, give the head a top. And as you can see, I didn't do the right side, because I'm gonna mirror these across. So first let's orient this, skeleton, orient. Remember, so I have X going down the bone, Y, so which direction do I want Y to go? In this case, Z positive. Z positive. Orient. And it should have done all of these. And sometimes these feet, that could have messed that up. I could have done, instead of Y, I could have done Z to go to X minus X negative, and that probably would have worked better in some cases. So now just zero that out, and let's mirror these across. So if I have my joints, I can grab a child joint to the joint I want to be the parent and hit P. This one to this one, hit P. And usually I would add clavicle joints or extra hip joints. This is just an example to show you all the different parts. So here, and finger joints, right, of course. But here I'll go to skeleton mirror joints. And it gives you this option to rename them as you're doing it. So before mirroring them, it's good to name your joints. And I'm going to be mirroring across the YZ axis, so in X. So imagine there's like a plane here, like a wall that's going along Z and Y. That's what I'm mirroring across. So it's kind of weird because we're mirroring on the value that this isn't displaying here. So first, let me just name these left arm 1 joint, and I'll just copy this just so you can see that when I mirror it now, I have L underscore is what it's going to search for, which is my left indicator, and then it's going to replace it with right underscore. So apply, it built it, threw it over there. This IK handle that it created doesn't work. Like, wait, what? I'm kidding. I didn't know it could do that. So this just mirrored across these this joint and renamed them. It also mirrored across this IK handle that I built. So that's cool. So here you do the same thing. Rename these left legs. Alright, so next we want to skin this to the bones. So if I grab, okay, so these ones are going to be a little easier because these are all separated mesh. And then this body part is going to be a little bit more complicated. But these are all just pieces of geometry that are going to be skinned to this one bone for now. So if I grab my bone, my head bone, go to my head geometry, skin, bind skin, and I like to set it to selected joints, and don't have this max influences higher than 4, just in case you're going to use this in like a game engine or something. If it's more than 4, some game engines don't allow for that, so 4 is the max that I would say. Also make sure interactive weight normalization is on. This makes it so we can paint these weights later if we need to. So I have selected joints, interactive, and 4 on the max influences. Hit apply. So now look, if I move this bone, that geometry is stuck to this bone. So I can do it with this, apply, this, apply. And here in the channel box, I can click on a geometry object, a mesh object, and if it has this grayed out bar here, that means it's connected to something and locked. So it automatically locks the geometry when you bind it. So if I just click through here, like this one I didn't do yet, so I can click the bone, then control click in the outliner and hit apply. This one's locked, this one's locked, this one's not. So control click, apply. Now if I move this bone, then see all those pieces are stuck to it. Now you can see also that I have values here. So if I hit 0 on this, it drops the head down to the floor. And this is what I mean by why we want controls for these. But first though, I can parent this to that one. So grab that, shift selected, and I'm gonna hit P. Remember that parents it. Let's call this head joint. And neck joint. Okay, what was it doing? We have, oh. It's good to just name these all as you go. I'm just trying to get through this for you to show you the different parts. So now I'm going to create a control for this head.